G'day guys, and welcome to another episode of Becoming Self-Sufficient. On today's episode, I'll be clearing out the garden bed behind me because I've got a great potato crop that's dying back and ready to harvest. I also just want to share a little bit around some of the things I've found difficult on this journey because I want you to be able to avoid them. Don't forget to give this video a like and hit that subscribe button if you enjoy the content. Now I know some of you are probably thinking, Josh, what are you doing? You're pulling up all those cabbages and they're not ready. You've pulled up that lettuce, What are you actually doing? Well guys, this garden bed behind me has been here for a while and it hasn't been very productive. So what I want to do, and I know some people disagree with this, is I want to turn over all of the soil and I want to add in some fertilizer. I want to grab some of my compost and throw that in there and just add a little bit more nutrients to this soil. And because we're at the beginning of spring here in Australia, I want to sow some fresh seed in there that I know is going to do well and that I know is going to give me the crop that I want. Here's some of the potatoes I pulled out of the ground, and what you'll notice is some of them are very, very small. Now the reason for that is potatoes don't particularly like a lot of water. And this particular area in my garden, when it rains, for some reason becomes really, really boggy. There is drainage around, and with all the plants that I've had in the ground, I thought they would have been soaking up a lot of that water. But as a result, most of my potatoes in this harvest are really, really small. So I'll know not to plant potatoes in this particular garden bed again. Now another important thing to remember, when you're looking to become self-sufficient, you can't let anything go to waste. So these veggies that I've pulled out of the ground here, half is going to go in my compost pile and half is going to go straight to the chooks to keep them nice and healthy. Now I've been tossing and turning a little bit around what I actually want to put into this garden bed, knowing that I was going to take everything out. And where I landed was sunflowers. And the reason for that, guys, is I want to continue to invite the pollinators into the garden, because if you followed along on one of my last episodes, you'll know that having bees in the garden is what actually gets your fruits and vegetables growing. You see, it's the transfer of the pollination that begins the growing process, and I want to assist that in any way possible. Well guys, this garden bed is going to be back to life in a month or two. I've got some sunflowers in there, and I actually put a lot of beetroot in there over the back as well, with a little bit of lettuce up the front. So hopefully within a month or two, we're gonna have a great crop that I can share with you guys. Now let's head on over into the studio, because I do wanna go through some of the struggles that I've been having on this journey to help you avoid them and help you be prepared. Hey guys, well if you're still at this part of the video, this is something I thought was rather important to share with you, because this journey of becoming self-sufficient and living sustainably is not easy. When I have gone and got myself chickens, I didn't realize the work that was going to go into it. I thought feed them some pellets, give them some water, and I'll have fresh eggs. But guys, you need to give them fresh fruits and vegetables from the kitchen scraps every day. Anything that you're pulling out of the ground in the garden that you want to get rid of, give them that as well. You've got to make sure they're receiving the right nutrients. And I didn't take into consideration that every day you have to change their water because they trash it. Chickens love to scratch about in their pen and they're flicking up dirt everywhere, and that gets into their water, it gets into their food, so you're constantly cleaning out that pen as well. There is a lot more to it than simply feeding them some pellets and getting eggs from them. Same with the garden, guys. I've chosen to do two types of gardening. I do have a garden bed which is in the soil, and then I have a whole lot of raised garden beds and in pots which are completely separate from the soil, and that requires two different watering regimens. You see, the ones in the soil, in the ground, they only need one thorough watering a week. But the ones that are in the pots and the raised garden beds, you see, they require a small bit of water every few days. You need to ensure that we are feeding these plants with fertilizer every fortnight or so. It's not as simple as what I first thought it was, which was stick some seed in the ground, water it, and walk away. There is so much that goes into this lifestyle, and one of the biggest things I've learned is patience. Okay, I thought that I would be able to go from zero to being self-sufficient overnight, and let me tell you, it does not work that way. Okay, I thought I'd be able to pick up my rod and reel and go for a fish and just catch fresh fish for my dinner every night. But something to consider, if you don't have 100% financial backing where you can make this your lifestyle and make this your full-time job, there is so much more to consider. You still need to go to work, and you need to come home and complete all the chores once you've finished work. It is quite tough. And I'm quite lucky that I'm in a position where I have that time, and I can spend that time in the garden. I can spend that time on learning and growing, so I can make a transition a lot quicker than what most people can. But I guess the point of what I'm saying here is start small. Start with maybe one raised garden bed where you start growing your herbs, the things you enjoy eating in your dinner time and things like that. Then maybe move on to some potatoes. Then maybe move on to tomatoes or zucchini and cucumber and things that are relatively easy to grow and don't require a lot of attention, so that you can slowly transition into a life where you become more sustainable and you become more self-sufficient. Because as we make those small steps, we are making a change to the world for our children and for our children's children. We are making progress no matter how small the change is that we decide to make. This is tougher than what I thought, but it doesn't mean you shouldn't give it a go. I'm not going to be giving up. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to get better and better and better after each and every week. But don't think that you can become self-sufficient overnight. It's a process, and it may not be for you. Well guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, give it a like, give me a subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.